Gentlelady yields back. I now recognize Representative Chris Smith of New Jersey, who's the ranking member of the Subcommittee on Africa, Global Health, and Global Human Rights for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and welcome, Mr. Secretary. You know, Mr. Secretary, as you know, the mass exodus of women and children from Ukraine has been left many vulnerable to human traffickers, and we know that even at some of the points as they're coming across the border, people are saying, you know, I'll give you shelter, I'll give you food, and yet it's an engraved invitation, frankly, to another hell that they're escaping, and that is human trafficking. You know, as you may know, I'm the special representative for the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly for human trafficking. I'm in almost daily contact with NGOs, governments, stakeholders in the region. There was an OSCE hearing a few weeks back, and the collective sense was not enough is being done. But I do thank you that there is efforts being made to help groups like IJM, the International Justice Mission. I would respectfully, and they haven't asked me to say this, but I will say it, hopefully they can get even more resources. A lot of the money that's going to UNHCR, I don't think is getting into the trafficking fight. Even the representative for the UNHCR recently testified at the Helsinki hearing that not enough is being done, and that's from his lips. So I think we need to take that very seriously. IJM, as you know, is really pushing hard for protection officers who can really help weed out you know, where the threats are. You know, and I would ask you, Mr. Consent, Mr. Chairman, to put these flyers, or at least a few of these flyers, which are really good, into the record. And they're from Poland, they're from Hungary, from Romania, and they are in Romania. So I would ask if you could to take back, to try to step up a regional effort similar to what IJM is doing in Romania. What they're doing is very efficacious, cost-effective, and I think it just needs to be done. So if you could bring that back and perhaps comment on it if you'd like. Secondly, on March 8th, I chaired a hearing on the importance of declaring Putin and others war criminals, but Putin especially. Now, I know the ICC has initiated an investigation. You know, I won't hold my breath how long it'll take. You know, they want to be thorough, and that's all important. But David Crane testified at the hearing that I had, and he was our special prosecutor for Sierra Leone, who put Charles Taylor behind bars for 50 years. And he said that there's another avenue, another route available to us, and that would be using the General Assembly, not the Security Council where there's veto power, as you know so well, but the General Assembly to stand up a tribunal and immediately indict Putin. People around him, including Lukashenko and others, may be harder pressed to be following and doing in a subservient way what he tells them to do if he's a war criminal, and he's an indicted one at that. And finally, if you could, on April 18th, Congresswoman Salazar and I did send you a letter expressing concern at reports that our embassy in Guatemala and the U.S. Department of State officials have been interfering in the appointment process for the next Prosecutor General for Guatemala, and whether our embassy is complying with Article 41 of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. I asked Deputy Secretary Sherman about this on April 6th. I haven't heard back, but I want to point out that Prosecutor General Porras has been extremely helpful when it comes to extraditing criminals from Guatemala, 63 in 2021, including 54 drug dealers. Now Guatemala and social media is abuzz, and there appears to be a memorandum circulating that's entitled, quote, Engagement Plan on the Guatemalan Attorney General Selection Process, close quote, purportedly from the U.S. government, and I wonder if you can confirm whether or not that is authentic, and I certainly hope it's not.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I just start quickly by applauding your long-time effective leadership on dealing with human trafficking, something that I very much appreciate, and I also share the concerns that you've expressed about this. This is something that we have been looking at and that we have real concern about. And in these situations, wherever they take place, but here in Ukraine as well, we have, as you know, 5 million people who are refugees. There are another 7 million who are internally displaced inside Ukraine. I want to take this suggestion back and look at it. I think trying to make sure that we have a regional focus on this makes good sense to me, and I'd love to come back to you on that if I could. Second, with regard to accountability, let me say this. We will look at anything and everything to make sure that we get there, whether it is tomorrow, next month, next year, 10 years. It will happen. You're right. Sometimes this takes a while. But here's the most important point. Those who committed atrocities and those who ordered them need to be held to account, and we will look at ways to do that. I'm not aware, but I'll come back to you if I can on the question of Guatemala. I can say as a general matter, we are very focused everywhere on making sure that there are independent prosecutors, judiciary, et cetera, to make sure that countries can deal with corruption, can deal with crime in an appropriate way. So that's the direction that we always take. But let me, if I can, look into this and come back to you.
Appreciate it, Mr.
Thank you.
Gentleman's time has expired. I now recognize Representative Kathy Manning of North Carolina, who's the Vice Chair of the Subcommittee on the Middle East, North Africa, and Global Counterterrorism for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair.